Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Penny Bloom Podcast. 'Tis I, Colton Robertson. I know we missed last week. But it was Christmas week. It's a hard one. For those that celebrate Christmas. 'Tis I, Colton Robertson, as I said, and I am joined by none other than my friends for the Mandalorian Rewatch. We got Joseph George. What's up, buddy?
What's up? How's it going?
It is going well. We've also got Miles Buttress. How you doing?
Doing well. Glad to finally be doing this.
Oh, dude, me too. I'm ready. And on the screen below me that I can see, and you cannot, KBZ, Kyler Burnett.
What's going on? I'm doing great.
Good to hear. So, we got the finale of Season 2 of The Mandalorian, and it was pretty much the greatest Star Wars content we've gotten in the Disney era, I would argue.
100%. Without question.
I don't know if oh my god. It's just kind of like what we talked about, I think the week before, about how the way that they've been able to do this in a show and how much more leeway they have and like what they can do with characters and how well they've developed them. Bro, there's no comparison. Like, this is the apex right now for Disney Star Wars stuff.
Disney Star Wars for me right now is like Mandalorian season, The Mandalorian overall, but specifically this finale, Rogue One, and Clone Wars Season 7.
I was going to say, you have to include the Clone Wars finale.
Just phenomenal. And this just blew my fucking mind. What a fucking episode.
I'm going to say it. This last episode was better than all three sequel movies combined. I'm just getting it out there.
The way this episode made me feel at points has not been matched by any movie or show ever. Like, I'm not exaggerating either. Like, here's the thing, is that when I'm watching the movies, I mean, obviously we're going to be talking about the finale, spoilers are coming, I never felt like that when Luke Skywalker was introduced. You know, it was always Luke Skywalker's here, of course. Then you're watching this, and it really makes you realize the weight of Luke Skywalker being around and out there, you know?
Also, it shows Luke being like a true badass.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
We really haven't seen Luke be in any of the other things. And also, real quick before you say what you want to say, Kyler, I enjoyed the like fight between Din and Moff Gideon, like that the spear versus darksaber fight, more than I enjoyed any lightsaber fight in the sequels trilogy.
It was strong, you know, and I wouldn't go that far because I love some of the lightsaber sequences we get in the sequel trilogy. For me, that's like some of the highlights of it. But
I would agree. I think Kylo fights so well. Any fight with Kylo is just so interesting. And then I think the way, but that's a different conversation.
And we will discuss this one day when we're talking about the sequels, because I know me and Kyler are going to be a little bit more forgiving and you guys won't, and it's going to be a fun
Joseph is waiting for his day to savage the fucking sequel.
Mercy, bro.
I just enjoyed it more just because it felt like there was so much more like
so
much more behind it. There's so much more emotion and stuff like that.
I'm not gonna fault you for it at all, for feeling that way.
Yeah.
It's not bad at all. I can't, like, bro. Some of those sequel fights are so badass. But I like I said, I'm an apologist for the sequels. So
and I once was, and like the further and further removed we get from it, the more I see it for what it is, and
the more I see everything else that Disney has done, the more I'm disappointed with the sequels.
There you go. That's real. That's really what it's about. Yeah. Is that like they have been able to do?
Yeah, exactly. The Mandalorian and
fail on the biggest stage of them all.
Yeah. Mandalorian, and then this last season of Clone Wars has definitely made the sequels age much poorly. But that's okay. It'd be like that sometimes.
One prediction that we were wrong about in this episode was the idea that Boba Fett and Din would be fighting alongside each other, which I was a little disappointed.
Yeah, I kind of couldn't quite. I thought the theory we're not talking about that didn't happen was Dr. Mandible making his return and doing surgery on Baby Yoda. I don't know. I thought that's what you were going to talk about. Obviously, the
Also,
important one.
the real theory that we had was for the soundtrack stuff. The door literally just open the door literally was just open the door.
Yeah, it was the fucking.
I was thinking about it afterwards, and I was like, they're literally just trying to punch the door open.
And come with me was Luke telling Grogu, "Come with me, little one."
So sad.
Yo, when he said that, we got Luke Skywalker coming face to face with Din Djarin, the Mandalorian.
Never thought.
And carrying off Grogu in his arms alongside R2-D2.
I can't lie to you guys. As I was watching it, as the episode drug on and that suspense of like, okay, who's he going to be? Who's he going to be? Who's he going to be?
It became more and more clear it was Luke Skywalker.
No, for me, see, that's what's funny. For me, I just kept convincing myself that somehow, some way, it was going to be Mace Windu. I don't know why, because I didn't really have it. And, I mean, that's the thing. There was really no other, until the X-Wing showed up, there was really no reason to assume any, like, they gave no hints until that happened.
And that was what was wonderful about that scene, is they were fucked. They were going to die. Like, a Jedi had to show up. Like, there was no other way out.
Well, that's what's funny is like this whole time because what did I think it was me or maybe somebody else. I don't know. I don't want to take credit for an idea that maybe somebody else threw out last week. But when I think somebody had said something about how like, I think that the Jedi is going to sneak on the ship and then they're going to bump into each other. It's like the group, like I thought it was going to be Mando and all of his group, like, all Cara Dune, Bo-Katan, all of them. And then they'd bump into the Jedi. Because they were, you know what I mean? Like, I think it was me actually. Now that I think about it,
I think that was you.
But like, that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. But then once that didn't happen, and like, I was like, okay, they backed themselves. Like now, there's no choice. The Jedi has to show up now. They don't have any more wiggle room. There's no time left. You have to bring it out.
Yeah, and he just fucks.
Plain and simple.
He literally just took what was the big bad in that they had these dark troopers that were clearly just going to just fuck them up. And they were all like, what do we do? He just walked in and was like, done.
Fuck. The soundtrack for everything they showed in this episode was perfect. There was not a miss.
Those Dark Troopers soundtrack, though, instead of being frightened, I was vibing, bro. It was
no, that shit was hype. Like,
my gosh.
It gave me big Iron Man vibes.
Exactly.
With the like the metal noise and stuff.
And you got Jon Favreau at the helm. Of course, there's going to be some bleeding
absolutely.
through there.
Should we perhaps maybe talk about the beginning of the episode?
No.
Let's do it. Let's do the scene by scene breakdown. I just wanted to talk
because I imagine we're going to talk for 30 minutes just about the last scene alone.
I imagine we're going to talk about an hour just about the last 10 minutes of the episode. So
it's going to be
so we've got a scene by scene breakdown here. I'll get it started. We got chapter 16 of The Mandalorian, The Rescue, which great title considering it works two ways. Directed by Ant-Man director and previous season 2 episode 2 director Peyton Reed.
Noted Dr. Mandible Lover.
Dr. Mandible Lover. And written by Jon Favreau. Just a perfect piece of television. So we open on the Lambda shuttle being chased through space by the Slave One. You're immediately in it. You're like, oh shit, okay, we're really doing it. We're all in, and I like that. We jump right in. Fuck waiting. Inside, Pershing and 2 pilots attempt to evade, but they're ultimately shut down by Boba's ion cannon. And the Slave One approaches for boarding, and Din walks through the cockpit. One of the imps warns him that this is this is Dr. Pershing. This is an important motherfucker. Din's like, yo, I know, we met. He's like, is the kid alive? And Pershing's like, yeah, dude, I'll give you everything you want.
He is such a bitch. He is a straight up bitch. I don't like that motherfucker. He rolls over for everyone. That is soft. What I was gonna say, I don't give a fuck. I hate him.
In the Star Wars world, if you're just a normal dude and you're going up against people that have the Force, control a fleet of Star Destroyers, all of these things, what are you gonna do besides just be like, all right?
Look, man.
Yeah, I mean,
don't get involved with shitty people.
Onto my ship, I'm gonna give him what he wants. I'm not gonna risk no shit here.
It'd be like if a Navy SEAL was like, "Hey, tell me what you know." You're just gonna be like, "All right, fair,
fair enough."
I'm just saying, I wouldn't I'm just saying, I wouldn't try to fight him. I don't have a chance, but I'd just fuck. I'd let him kill me, I guess. Maybe I have no experience. I can't probably say this as I'm sitting in my suburban bedroom right now, but I feel like if a scenario like that
feel
presented.
you though, Kyler, because I too want to be down to ride like that for real. But like, here's the thing: it's nothing that important that I know. You know.
Well, this was, of course, accounting for the hypothetical.
Ain't nothing that I know worthy of that sort of treatment. You know, I ain't got to worry about that.
Okay, I
do know some shit. Dun dun dun.
Hey man, look, I just have to make this super obscene reference that I don't know if anyone's gonna get because this movie isn't like super it's not a huge thing, but to me, Dr. Pershing, have you guys seen, I'm sure you've seen it, but if you remember, Men in Black, the newest one, the third one, or Men in Black, what is it, I can't
International or something?
No, not that one. The one before that. The last one was
the last Will Smith one?
Yes.
3? Yes.
Is that 3? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, do you guys recall when, I am blanking on the actor's name. Andy Warhol. That's who he plays in them. But it's the guy from SNL. Bill Hader. Bill Hader plays Andy Warhol. Pershing reminds me exactly of Bill Hader's performance of Andy Warhol, and the appearance as well.
He has a Hader-ish look to him with a.
Mm-hmm.
I see it.
No, I'm really just meaning the outfit is super like.
Oh, it's like that.
Oh. Wait, no, it's not. Never mind. I just looked at it. Now I feel stupid. Anyway.
Well, Pershing's willing to give up all the information here. One of the pilots takes him at gunpoint, and I really liked the actor here for this pilot. He absolutely killed this fucking scene, dude. He was great. But Cara Dune enters, and the other pilot's like, yo, we can work this out. I ain't with them. We'll be cool. Let's talk about it. And then, he is promptly shot in the neck. And the pilot explains that this is a top-tier target of the New Republic, a clone engineer, and that if they find out he's dead because of Cara, she's gonna wish she'd never left Alderaan. And I was like, damn, he knows about Alderaan. He says he saw it destroyed. He was on the Death Star. And Cara responds wittingly, "Which one, bitch?" And,
this dude's a huge Chad. This is big time. Like, my dad's a lawyer vibes. Like,
yeah,
I was on the Death Star.
No, I had more unhinged psychopath vibes coming off this guy.
He thought he was doing a lot more than what he was actually doing by saying like he's a top target of the New Republic, and it's like, all right, so what if she kills him? Like, what are they gonna do? Be like, man, you really should have taken him alive next time.
Yeah, exactly. And when Cara's like, which one? He goes on. He's like, you think you're funny? You know how many millions were killed on those bases as the galaxy cheered? And she's throughout all this, she's continuously asking him, "Yo, drop your weapon. You got to put it down. Stop it. You got to chill." And he says that destroying her planet was a small price to pay to rid the galaxy of terrorism. Cara lost all patience.
Wrong thing to say,
man. In the face.
Yep.
Shoots the man in the face, no questions asked. Nips off part of Dr. Pershing's ear here. And,
I was going to ask if you guys noticed that, because I saw that.
Yeah, the camera lingers on Din's face here as he watches Cara walk away like, okay, so we really ain't fucking around. We really on it.
You know what's funny? I feel like guys always do that, like, hostage shit where they, like, take the person that they're, like, is important and they, like, hold the gun right there and they leave their head right there. And I swear they only ever do that in the presence of, like, the sharpest of sharpshooters. Like, bro, you really don't think they can just hit your face and not kill this man? Like,
you're guaranteed to make this shot? All right, let me give you my entire skull.
Yeah, like, why don't they just stand directly behind them? Like, crouch down if you're taller. Like, I'm talking, like, mimic their body exactly. Like, why? Why leave the window?
Yeah, do you remember that scene where at the end, I don't think it was the last episode, maybe the episode before, but whenever someone was talking to Cara about, like, how many did you lose on Alderaan, she said, I lost everybody. I think that was kind of like a precursor to this scene, saying, like, how much built up, like, she has, and maybe this is what's driving her day to day.
It's not going to be over something like that.
Oh yeah. From the second this dude started talking about Alderaan, the second he mentioned Alderaan, I'm like, yeah, this dude's gone. Yeah,
he's dead.
Dude's dead for sure.
And so after the title card here, we see the Slave One enter the atmosphere of a planet and land on its surface. And when they touch down, they head over to the local cantina. And when Boba and Din enter, everyone takes notice. And this was such a underrated badass scene from this episode. Just them walking in and everyone, it's it was dead ass though.
It's I just shit my pants sort of vibe.
Bro, they just look so good next to each other. They look so just clean and fucking terrifying. And just nasty.
And we see that they pull up here to see Bo-Katan and Casca Reeves, and this scene confirms that Sasha Banks is quite the liar.
Yeah, that bitch, she lied. Okay. Lying through her teeth.
This was kind of a weird scene.
I appreciate the lie, though.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
This was a weird scene. Why they all got so mad at each other, and I don't know. This was weird.
It's just because Boba, they recognize that he's a clone, so he's probably not a true Mandalorian. They don't know his whole foundling history and stuff like that.
What's funny to me is Bo-Katan doesn't even follow the Mandalorian shit like it's supposed to be. Well, I guess technically we've discussed this. She's a different kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still, I don't know. It just seems like.
Well, I guess this is kind of an argument of religion, sort of thing. It is. Yeah, I mean that does get heated in the real world, so I guess I could see why it does get heated.
So you know how we were just talking about Sasha Banks and how she lied? Mm-hmm. I bet you Marvel is going to put a freaking they're going to call in Tom Holland into the office and be like, look, this is all you have to do. Just say the opposite of whatever you would normally say, and we'll be fine. No spoilers. And this man's still going to find a way to spoil the plot of Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, he's going to be like, yeah, I was on set with Andrew and Toby. And,
yep.
Oh, wait. I was on set with Andrew and Toby. We were just having a bonkers time. It was just wonderful. Din approaches. He says, he needs their help. And Bo-Katan's he takes a look at Boba and he's like, yo, not all Mandos are bounty hunters. So I was like, dope. Bo-Katan has heard of Boba Fett. I love that. And Din's like, nah, they got the kid. And she's like, who? And he's like, Moff Gideon. So apparently they did discuss Moff Gideon. Because, I remember when she popped up earlier in the season, we kind of talked about how, she never quite explicitly said she was looking for Moff Gideon in front of Din or anything. Or that she was looking for the Darksaber. But I don't know. Mm-hmm. And, Bo-Katan says that they'll never find him. And Boba's like, you know what? We don't need these guys. We don't need them. Fuck them. And Bo-Katan says that Boba is not a Mandalorian. And he responds promptly and says, I never said I was. And Casca starts talking her shit, about how she didn't know sidekicks were allowed to talk. And I was like, wow, she's one to fucking talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking to Boba Fett. Nobody's going to like you now.
I don't think anyone does. Being honest, I mean,
no, I still like the character. She's fiery and stuff. It's dope. But it's that was an interesting line to give to her, talking to Boba Fett.
Yeah, you're a part of a trio that's now a duo, and if you think you lead Bo-Katan, you're tripping. So
he says that shit that it's isn't that the Bufka calling the Bantha slimy or some shit? Oh man! You're so isn't that the pot calling the kettle black in that universe?
Yeah, I love whenever they do stuff like that.
I do too. It's pretty cool. And Casca and Boba get in each other's faces, talking all that shit, and Bo-Katan cools the tension for a moment. And Din explains that they have the coordinates for Gideon and his cruiser, and that it could be useful in retaking Mandalore. And Boba's like, "Yo, Mandalore? The Empire turned that shit to glass, bro. Good luck." And Bo-Katan says that Boba is a disgrace to his armor. And Boba's like, "Excuse me, ma'am. This was my dad's suit." Bo-Katan says, "Oh, you mean your donor?" And Bo-Katan's like, "You're a clone. I've heard your voice thousands of times." And Boba, with the killer line, "Mine might be the last voice you ever hear." I was like, "Oh."
His one-liners are fucking goated.
Yo, and that's why I cannot wait for the book of Boba Fett, bro.
Also, so happy that they actually kind of announced it, Colton, because we talked about whether or not I was just Mandalorian season 3, but it's a separate show, and I have never been happier.
I honestly had no doubt. I felt like they couldn't help. Like, I don't see. To me, this is what I think. I think they're giving more. They're doing so many of these shows, and I think with so many happening in the same timeline, they're going to be able to weave these in, like cross. You know, like how Disney Channel used to do Disney used to do the crossover episode. Be like, that's so sweet life. Like we're getting like that's what we're gonna get. Like I don't. It's going to be so sick. Because I feel like they're going to have – this is just a way for them to give arcs, like independent arcs to all of these characters, but also be able to like have countless stories going on at the same time. Think about how cool it's going to be because these aren't all going to release at the same time, right? But you're going to have – because what's the number? I know I saw a tweet or we maybe talked about it.
It's going to be 11 shows in the next 3 years.
Right. No. But that take place in this current time, like in the timeline we're in, that are going to be going on at the same. Like
there's going to be Ahsoka, The Mandalorian, Rangers of the New Republic, and now the Book of Boba Fett.
Right. So what I'm saying is that if those aren't all released at the same time, think about how we're not going to ever like run out of time. Like we're not going to run out of content that's taking place in this timeline for a long time. You know what I mean? Because they're going to release them all at different times. So that's going to be awesome. Because like, phenomenal. Think about how sick it's going to be when Mandalorian's not happening, but Book of Fett is going on, and Mandalorian Din Djarin pops up in Book of Fett or something. Like if that would happen,
I'm ready for that, bro.
If that would happen,
we've had all these characters pop up in different properties and stuff, and I cannot wait for like Din Djarin and Grogu to make those leaps into like that sort of Star Wars canon. You know, like make an appearance somewhere else, like the way like I know a few of you like the way Leia, Lando, and them show up in Rebels and stuff like that. You know,
also,
every now and then.
When are we going to get an Ahsoka meets Luke Skywalker?
That has to happen, right?
It has to.
I think now.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get it in Ahsoka.
Unforgivable if it doesn't, in my opinion.
Well, it has to happen.
Yeah, because it's literally her meeting her I guess master's son, which is just
thing to
yeah.
And wow, you know what's awesome?
That would be a great way for him to get to know his dad.
And you know what's awesome?
Ahsoka.
Is guess who's gonna be in charge of making that happen? Favreau and Filoni. It's gonna be fucking sick.
Yeah. Being the whole timeline here.
It's
Rangers of the New Republic, Ahsoka, and Book of Fett are all right there. All Favreau and Filoni. Just fucking wonderful. So, you know, Boba says, mine might be the last voice you ever hear. And Casca takes a swing. She's like, fuck this guy. And Boba and her go at it. He throws her through a table. She knees him in the stomach, does a cool little suplex thing, and they end up face to face with their flamethrowers burning at each other. And Bo-Katan, again, shuts this shit down. She says, if we'd shown that same spirit in the fight against the Empire, we never would have lost our planet. I was like, damn, Bo-Katan. She really is like always thinking about that fucking planet, bro. It's nothing else on her mind.
Thinking of when are we getting that? I want to know when we're getting the fall of, like the true fall of Mandalore.
I'm thinking we might get that sort of thing in the Bad Batch.
Oh, maybe. Just because that is something I want to see how Bo-Katan lost the Darksaber, 1, and 2, what happened.
Well, that's the thing, is that would be the perfect time to put that in there, because the Bad Batch, I think, takes place like the fallout of the Clone Wars. So I'm assuming soon after that, Mandalore really, really fell. Or what happens in Rebels with the Mandalore?
Yeah, because that's whenever she gets the Darksaber is after Rebels.
Man.
So that's the thing. Is that like
the Bad Batch, there's not a huge gap. It had to have happened like during the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Which is just interesting.
Because I guess Rebels. What is? Sorry, just because I can't remember. Rebels ends on the first Death Star, right? Or does it end on the fall of the Empire?
Well, that's the thing, is that like the real story ends before A New Hope. Yeah. And then they have that last cutscene with Ahsoka and Sabine.
Gotcha.
And Hera and her kid and stuff. And that's like right after Return of the Jedi.
Gotcha.
Question about Rebels and then this show, The Mandalorian. Is Bo-Katan always this like bitchy? I don't know. I got a real bitchy vibe from her character in The Mandalorian.
Bo-Katan really doesn't show up a lot in the. I mean, she shows up some in Rebels, but she's not like a.
she's just a serious person, you know. She's about her business. Yeah. She's trying to retake the throne, and she's not gonna fuck around any two ways about it. She's gonna be on her bullshit, you know. It's just what she's gonna do. But yeah, I mean, like,
I don't know. I guess it was more of like a very strict mother vibe. Very weird vibe to say. But I guess I kind of got like, I don't know. I don't know if that's just how she is, but like,
I don't know.
The scene
I think that's just who her character is, and then also thrown on top the fact that she lost her home and that she's super serious about trying to get it back, and also just a kind of serious character to begin with.
Yeah, I think that's just got to be it.
Could have been useful information to say, hey, maybe don't defeat Moff Gideon first. Maybe let me do that. Or actually did say that, actually.
She does say that. That's what's... But she
doesn't
emphasize how important it is.
She just says Moff Gideon's mine.
Okay, do we want to... We'll talk about it later. Okay.
But, Bo-Katan here, she says that they'll help in return. They'll help them, and then in a return, they get to keep the light cruiser to retake Mandalore. And Gideon has a weapon that was once hers. She needs it too. A weapon that can cut through anything. And Casca's like, but pure Beskar. And she says she will kill them off and take what is hers. With the Darksaber restored to her, Mandalore will be within reach. I was like, okay, so like right there, she's kind of explaining, but she doesn't emphasize how important it is that she is the one to take.
Yeah, I think that's where my thing is like, okay, I get you said Moff is for you, but there's a lot of ambiguity there. Like, just be straight up. Like, look, if anybody fights Moff Gideon and takes that shit, I have to kill you now. Like, it's that. It's really like you could have just said that.
Like, yeah, exactly. If the story is that important, the story of the Darksaber. Well, I mean, I think.
I guess she doesn't have to kill him, but like
defeat him.
See, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that more. About that more. But Din says that she can take whatever she wants. The kid is his only priority. He's not worried about a single other thing, which is funny because by the end of this episode, he is the rightful ruler of Mandalore. Back on the Slave One. Bo-Katan breaks down the layout of the of Moff's light cruiser and lays out a plan. And Pershing tells her that her assessment of the situation is misleading, that there is a garrison of dark troopers on board. He explains to Din that these are the third generation of dark trooper, and the human on the inside was the problem. So it wasn't that they are building towards putting humans in the suits, it's that they couldn't figure out how to get humans in the suits, so they had to go to droids. So I thought that was interesting. And
I took that to mean like the humans
haven't figured it out yet.
No, I took it to mean like humans inside of the suits are bitches, and we want cold hard steel inside of there that has no feeling and will do whatever we tell them to do.
Right.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I thought it was that they couldn't figure out. I thought the Dark Troopers were supposed to be the force-wielding troops. That's what I've always been picturing.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
I figured that's what he was talking about. Like, they aren't, like, the human in the inside was the weakness. Like, we couldn't figure out how to get them exactly how we wanted them.
Yeah, well, and I think that is the case. It's just the weakness was the fact that, stormtroopers are all terrible.
And, like, obviously they're going to get more, just menace and, like, strength from a droid. But, Pershing points out that the cargo bay in which they are held and explains that they draw too much power to be kept at ready, and it takes a couple minutes to power up. And he also points out the brig where Grogu is being held under armed guard. And Bo-Katan lays out the plan one more time, explaining that her, Casca, Cara, and Fennec will be, kind of just creating a distraction, trying to get to the bridge to take them off. And Din asks, he's like, what the fuck do I do then? And Bo-Katan tells him to slip through the shadows, get to the kid in the chaos. And they also decide here that it is possible for Din to neutralize the Dark Troopers before they have a chance to deploy on his way to the kid. So that's very important too. And in hyperspace, Bo-Katan says right here that Moff Gideon is hers. And that's all she says. And Cara says that he is ex-ISB, and that's not how this works. She'll need to take him in. And then here is where Bo-Katan should have clarified. Bo-Katan says she doesn't care what happens to him. You need to make it clear that you need to be the one who beats him. And she does say, as long as he surrenders to me. So it's like, so you do care what happens to him.
So here's what I guess I don't understand. Is, like, why? I don't know. I feel like there's just a glaring like hole in her plan. Like, you don't think that Moff Gideon is gonna be gonna try to be around Baby?
Yeah, it's
Like,
I think that's a flaw. Like, he notices there's a break-in on the ship. His immediate priority isn't the like obvious thing that people would be trying to get on their ship for.
yeah, right. So like, I don't know. I guess I understand the logic of like having her be in the big group is that ideally that draws the big attention.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I feel like they're gonna fight mass with mass and then leave Moff Gideon with man. Like, that just, I don't know.
I get you.
That's also hindsight and all of this and that. So I guess I should just shut up.
No, I get you. They exit hyperspace here, and Boba lets go of his quote convincing shots, just missing the Lambda shuttle, and they make contact with the cruiser, and Bo-Katan calls for emergency docking. And I was like, if Moff Gideon is familiar with Bo-Katan, it's interesting that he doesn't recognize this isn't an Imperial. But it's also like, what are the odds that it is Lambda shuttle? There's probably just another Imperial in there. It's no big deal. I get it, but like.
Boba intentionally is missing these shots and is doing brilliantly, I might say. Do you think that if a stormtrooper were to try to purposely miss shots,
that they would have hit them?
They would magically hit shots. Do you think
Probably.
that? Do you think that is how it works?
Have a better shot there.
I like to believe that if they were actively trying not to hit someone, they would. Yeah, I think I'm with Colton. Their chances of actually hitting them are much better.
I get you. And,
wow.
the people on the bridge, they don't clear the landing here. They're like, no, we're going to deploy TIE fighters instead. And this shows how good Boba Fett actually is at what he does here. And Bo-Katan stays the course, heading for the hangar, despite the oncoming TIEs, and the second TIE barely misses her. And they breeze into the tunnel, making a rough landing. And Boba fights off the TIEs like no fucking problem. It was like so obvious that he was missing the shots before.
Yeah.
He took them out like one by one with one bolt, just fucking them up. And he launches into hyperspace, and not to return this episode.
Yeah, that was what was wild to me. Was that like he was really just gone?
That was the thing. When he launched into hyperspace, I was like, oh, like he's gone. There's no way he's coming back.
Yeah, and what was strange to me as well was like, I don't know, I felt like he played it up like he was going to carry this whole mission out to the end until he saw Baby back in Mando's hands.
Well, like what?
To pay his debts.
There's
but
guns
then I guess
the ship itself that they're in. There's probably going to be more TIE fighters coming after him. Like, you can't stay there forever.
Yeah, so he played his role, and his role was an important one.
It makes sense.
That's true.
That he left.
No, I don't disagree. 100%. I guess I just thought it was weird. I'm like, you don't need that guy on your team right now. Like, that's your role. Like, hey, Boba. Yeah. Like, to me, why don't you fucking make Casca Reeves just drive a ship by herself and shoot at the Lambda and pack everyody in there and just say, hey, we're fucking all here now. Let's fucking ride.
I don't think he's gonna let anybody.
Boba gets his shine. He gets his.
Fair.
I don't think he's gonna let anyone else pilot the Slave One other than him. I guess
I didn't think about that. It's a good point.
But in the hangar, they clear the deck out and they take out every imp in sight. And in the bridge, Gideon commands to activate the Dark Troopers, and the music kicks in, and it's like, whew, it's like that, burn, 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 burn. It's just like, this shit is so hard. And they begin to power up, those like fucking like tubes like popping off of them and shit. I was like, ooh, this is fucking cool. I love this.
And, they want me to be scared, but I'm not scared at all. I'm hype.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Slowly. You don't apologize, Joseph.
Never.
It's okay.
Never apologize. Never apologize. Din, slowly exits the Lambda shuttle, looking to sneak through the cruiser quietly, and the other four are alarmed by how clear their path has been. They're like, "Yeah, this is a little too clean,"
I think as soon, because when they were planning this, they talked about how like you have X amount of minutes or seconds until the Dark Troopers become active, and I'm like, bro, as soon as you crash your ship in there, he activated those hose. I'm like, This thing is like your plan's fucked already. Like your shit's fucked on.
Exactly, and the other four are alarmed by how clear the path has been, obviously, and then the stormtroopers come in front of them, and Bo-Katan and Casca use their jetpacks to fly off the sides of the bridge here, and I thought that was cool. And as Kara and Fennec take out the first set of troopers, more come from behind, and Bo-Katan and Casca just fly right back up, take all of them out nice and easy. And I was like, that was such a wonderful way to utilize the Mandalorians. Like that was such like Clone Wars.
It was cool
vibes, Mandalorian. You know, it was just really cool.
Oh yeah, I think I had an audible like. Sorry. I know I shouldn't apologize. But yeah, I was like an audible like whoa, like when they use their jetpacks and like I was like whoa, that was cool. Sorry.
Like, oh man, goddamn.
It reminds me of like an Avengers, like when you see like that feeling when you saw something like I don't know, like for me it was Endgame, like when you saw like or maybe I don't know, I guess it was more Infinity War, like when you see them fight Thanos on Titan and like how everyone uses their strengths and how they play off of those strengths. Like this is to me is just like that. Like wow, this is like this is max, like they all cogs are turning, like this is max efficiency. Like this is just everyone is using their strength right now.
100%. And you know, on the other side of the ship, Din makes his way down a hall and dodges out of the side of a couple troopers. And as he continues, the Dark Troopers continue to activate. You got more tubes popping off. They take a step forward and shit. And the other four reach the cargo bay where they properly clear out many imps. And Fennec Shand is just putting on an absolute fucking show, bro. I cannot wait for her to be side by side with Boba Fett and the Book of Boba, because
she don't miss.
Being next to Boba Fett is not easy. And like I think she holds her fucking own, you know, like as a character. I don't mean like just like as a badass. I mean just like she is fun to fucking watch.
Right. No, like you mean like getting her shine.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And she
she got that hip fire accuracy, bro.
Bro, when she fired through like that little diamond and hit that one in the fucking that one stormtrooper in the face, that was fucking nasty. She was fucking
kind of
cold
a nut,
with it. And you know, the Dark Troopers, for sure, the Dark Troopers activate and arm themselves, and they make it. You know, when they make it to the hall ahead of them, Kara's gun jams, and Fennec covers her, and Kara ends up using the gun to beat the shit out of some troopers. You know, Fennec shooting one last one, and the Dark Troopers begin their march for the door. All this is just like really back and forth. We're just bouncing around. It's like we're all over the ship. All right, this is urgent, and they did a good job with that pacing. I felt like, you know, because like the first 20 minutes, or not 20 minutes, but like first 15 minutes of this episode, like by the end of the Moff Gideon fight, you feel like the episode should be almost over, and it's like maybe halfway through.
Yeah, I think I had to pause it or something, like right around then, or maybe I checked the time because I tend to do that sometimes just to see how much time I have left, and I was like, oh fuck!
Like we have
so much left to talk about.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, I did the same thing just because of the like all the previous episodes have been so short. I like during the like whenever the Dark Troopers were like powering up, I was like, all right, just like clicked on the remote to see how much time was left, and I was like, yes,
yeah,
thank you.
And you know, the Dark Troopers, they begin their march for the door, and this is I'm thinking this is when Open the Door is playing, or is it later when they're beating the shit out of the door?
I think Open the Door plays later whenever they're just beating the shit out of the door.
Yeah. And as Din approaches, he sees it opening, and he closes it, but not in time. One of them pries the door open, and I was like, fuck. And what I was concerned about was that he was just going to be able to open these hoes. Like, and that all of them were going to come. I'm thankful
that's what I thought too.
Because that would have been bad. I'm glad
he got
that
his shit kicked in, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh!
He punches him in.
I mean, it shows. Oh,
I was waiting for the dent on his helmet or a crack in the like, you know, eye part, because that thing was just
beating the shit out of him. He just punches him over and over, and his blaster is just doing absolutely nothing to it. And the other Dark Troopers continue to punch the door, and Din tries to use his flamethrower, which doesn't pan out. And the trooper continues to throw him around, and he uses his whistling birds to no avail. And
I had just thought about it too. I'm sorry. I had just when I started watching the episode, I was like, he has whistling birds in there still. I'm pretty sure. I was like, oh, I can't wait to see how he uses them. It's gonna be so badass. Like he's gonna fuck up so many people. And I'm like, I'm waiting. I'm like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, like literally, like we're only like 15 minutes in, and it's one Dark Trooper, and he uses them, and it does nothing. And I'm like, all right, well, the cat's out of the bag now. He's going to have to fucking find his way through this shit.
It really showed how powerful those whistling birds are, because nothing was doing anything to that Dark Trooper, and then those things knocked him the fuck around. Like, he didn't go down or anything, obviously, but, like, he was ding, 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 ding. Like, he was getting his shit rocked a little bit. And what does the Dark Trooper end is the Beskar spear through the mechanical throat.
I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really cool because it's such a simple weapon, and it's like looking at it, I don't want to say it's the least badass in it, like out of Mando's, but it's like it doesn't jump out to you as like, oh, this is the most powerful weapon I have. Mind you, I understand Beskar and how
I get you. I get where you're coming
strong it is, but like that's just not the flashy one. Like that's not what you'd expect. Like I think the fact Mando didn't use it until it literally was like it kind of fell into like it kind of just was like he's like, well, fuck, I don't know what else to do.
Exactly.
Like I think that kind of shows that Mando had even kind of like had it as like it was almost an afterthought. Like he was like, well, this is more for Moff Gideon. Like yeah, and then
that was the only reason why he brought it was to use on Moff.
Yeah,
but it's not surprising. Like to me, that just is perfect. It's perfect.
Absolutely. But Din gets to this lever after he kills the Dark Trooper and opens the cargo bay and unleashes the Dark Troopers into space. And I was like, and I know I immediately was just like, they can fucking fly. They're just gonna be bad.
I didn't remember that. I don't know why I forgot about that whenever they went down and grabbed Grogu, but it just slipped my mind and made their return so much more scary.
I get you for sure.
I guess
I thought about it in the moment and then immediately forgot about it.
I get you, yeah.
I guess my thought was more like I predicted like I kind of figured like I don't know. I guess I thought they'd like freeze up when they got out into space and would just like be immobilized. Oh, fucking imagine these things would have froze up and then just happened to stumble through the galaxy and fall into some fucking planet and then like wake back up on a planet and just fuck everyone. Oh, imagine you're just sitting in your living room and a fucking Dark Trooper falls through the roof. You're sitting in your living room watching Mandalorian and a fucking Dark Trooper falls onto your fucking couch. Rip.
But back with the others, they're in the elevator and Kara unjams her gun, just rather unelegantly, and everyone. Oh yeah, everyone else being strong, collected characters were just like,
yeah, she's such a brute, and it's so badass because she just is all about the smoke. Just she does not give a fuck. She will just.
That shit she did where she swung the gun up over Fennec Shan's head when she was under it. I absolutely loved that. That was cool. And cleared it out real quick.
So what was hilarious to me was she sitting there like jammed and like just beating the shit out of this gun, and like of course the way that unjams it is just her fucking brutalizing it on the fucking ground. Okay. What was hilarious to me was her method of checking to see if the gun works isn't like just shooting at a wall or like making sure. Like she walks in front of a like 10-man platoon and is just like, well, hopefully it fucking works. Like what if the gun would have fucking jammed? You're a fucking sitting duck. You're toast. Like
no. Did you see how hard she hit that? There's no way it was still jammed.
It also made that noise, it made the zero.
Right,
it was
but exactly. She still didn't seem that sure that it was unjammed. Oh, yeah, she had to check. So like, bruh, imagine you just sit there thinking, it's fine.
And then, they clear out the bridge here, and they find that Moff Gideon is not there, and they really just didn't plan for that. They were just like, I thought he'd stay right here.
Yeah, at this point, Bo-Katan should have just been like I feel like they have some communication. Should have been like, hey, Din, just a heads up, Moff's not here. I'm on my way down. If you see him, maybe like step back for a minute and let me kill him.
Yeah.
But, you're fighting him? Oh.
Back at the brig. Din kills the two guards guarding Baby Yoda, and he stabs one through the gut with the Beskar spear, and then he snaps the neck of the other.
That shit was brutal. We haven't seen him do some shit like that since I think it was episode 2, season 1.
Yeah, I think it was episode 4 when he breaks, or episode 3 when he breaks Grogu out.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't remember 2 or 3 or whatever, but yeah, dude, he was fucking dark with this shit.
I didn't think they were going to show him snapping this guy. No, they panned up from the feet to show you him snapping his neck. It wasn't
about it, though.
Off-camera thing. They were like, no, watch it happen.
Think about it, though. The last time he was this brutal was
Saving Baby?
in freeing Grogu the first time.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that this time, whenever the stakes are a little bit higher, he's not going to hold anything back, and he does not care about anyone on that ship.
No, if you're an imp, you're fucking dying. All right? That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line for Din right now. If you're in his way, that's what's going to go down. And he opens the door to find Grogu with Moff Gideon standing there holding the Darksaber over his head.
I was horrified. I was like, oh no, just the imagery is just bad. I don't want to see anything that can kill Baby Yoda that close to him.
Ever. And, Din drops his gun and he gives it to Gideon. And he demands for the kid. Says, give me the kid. And Gideon tells him that the kid is just fine where he is. We'll talk about it. All right. Just he's cool. He's chilling right now. And he begins to talk about the Darksaber and his level of knowledge. He says, mesmerizing, isn't it? Used to belong to Bo-Katan. Yes, I know you've been traveling with Bo-Katan. Friendly piece of advice. Assume that I know everything.
He is so fucking good.
Like the fact that I know your wrist launcher has fired its one and only salvo. And I was like, fuck, dude. Perfect.
Yes, he's so good. Everything about it is so good. Like his portrayal, his like calm, just everything. His demeanor as a villain he has that nailed. I don't know if I could ever watch him be in any role that's not him being like fucking awful, like just a horrible person.
And what's funny is that he can do that. He has in the past, but like what's gonna like vilify him forever is these performances. You know, this is gonna be great. And I watched The Boys since the last time we talked about this, Miles and Joe, and
yes.
He does play this character again.
It's literally the exact same character, only
corporate.
on
Earth. Just a corporate guy instead.
And he just plays it so well.
So well.
So we have Drug Lord Giancarlo Esposito, we have Intergalactic Giancarlo Esposito, and we have corporate villain Giancarlo
Esposito.
And he's good in every single one of them. Moff Gideon says that he's guessing Bo-Katan and her crew have arrived at the bridge looking for him, or more accurately, this. And he gestures to the Darksaber, and I was like, I fucking love this guy. He's so good at what he does. And he's like, and now they're panicking. He regards them as murderous savages. I was like, man, this guy is twisted. He has no idea what he's talking about. He's a little fucked in the head. He explains that the Darksaber brings power. The person who holds it can claim their right to the throne of Mandalore. And what's funny is thinking about this moment here. To a person who has watched everything else, this moment is not heavy. It's kind of like, yes, of course that can bring power. Yeah. But to a person who only watches The Mandalorian, has not seen anything else, this was like, holy fucking shit, what if Din becomes the ruler of Mandalore?
And what I think is funnier is the fact that that Din was just like, I mean, if I take it, it's not that big a deal. Like,
exactly. Well, that's the thing. He did not make the rules clear intentionally. Like this was part of Moff Gideon's plan. He was like, I know if I fight you, you're going to beat me.
Yeah, no. See, here's what I think. I think Moff could have beat Din. I don't think Moff was going full speed. I really don't think he gave him everything he had. Personally,
I think he did. I think it was if I kill him, I kill him. If I don't, then that's fine.
If I win, great. If I lose, also still good, because all it does is it just drives a wedge.
Okay. I see. I don't know. I feel like I'm not saying that Mando couldn't fuck with Moff Gideon. Period. I just think Moff Gideon took it easier because I think he knew that would create more problems is by losing. I think he knew that was the better.
See, I don't think that causes more problems than him keeping Grogu, though.
That's true.
I don't think
that's the thing. It's like
I don't know if he doubted that he was going to... I think he thought he was going to have Grogu either way. Like, I think he saw himself still... Like, because, look, I think he, like... I don't know. I guess I'm just giving him way more credit. Maybe I'm being, like...
No, I get you, though. That is the type of villain that Gideon is, so I wouldn't put it past him to have lost on purpose, you know? That wouldn't surprise me if that were to be confirmed, you know? But Din tells him, you know, fuck it. You can keep the Darksaber, bro. I don't want it. I only want that guy. And he gestures to Grogu, and Gideon tells him, very well. I've already got what I need. All I wanted was to study his blood. he says that he can see their bond, and he tells Din to take him. And I was like, "Fuck this! No way!"
Yeah, I'm like,
I was like, "Is this really the culmination of this?" There's like 20 minutes left in this episode. What the fuck are we doing?
And then for me, it's like I couldn't even focus on anything other than like when he said I got what I needed. I'm like, oh fuck, what does he have? What's he planning? What is it? What did they do? Like, because to me, this information is somewhere else. Like, that's my belief. Like, I know it's Ron, but I feel like this has been shipped off to everyone important. Whatever they've done, it's already like that plan is already set in motion. Like, I hate to say that Moff Gideon is at this point expendable, but like I feel like Moff Gideon can take solace and be like, no matter what happens, the most important thing has already happened. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the work is
I get
done.
you 100%. I'm kind of with you. And you know, he says you can take him, but you must leave, and we must go our separate ways permanently. And he's like, "All right, fucking bet that." And Din just turns his back to Gideon, goes to pick up Grogu, and Gideon. And I was thankful for this move. Unsheaths the Darksaber and smacks the shit out of his back, and does it multiple times. And a duel begins, and the two go back and forth. Beskar spear versus Darksaber, and it's an absolutely badass fight. Just a lot of super fucking cool shit. Did you see that part where he kicks the spear over his head and brings it down over on Gideon's shoulder? Like it's so badass, and I have to show you the video of it because it's just so perfect.
It was choreographed so well. This fight was choreographed so brilliantly.
Yo, and like that's Giancarlo Esposito in there, really, really swinging that. And I like that he's not a master swordsman, you know, and he's not supposed to be. Like they don't want you to think he's just got the
he's not like trained in this shit like that.
He's got this like murderous rage about him that's just gonna keep him in it. Like
what I love is he fights with that I don't know. I think there's times in like 3 where you see Anakin fight like that, where it's just pure emotion and rage, and that's his outlet. That's what you're seeing and reflected in the fight style. And I love that this is how like Esposito fights, because like he's not a Sith, he's not a Jedi. Like he's just swinging this shit. Like this is just, it's awesome.
I love it. And ultimately, out of this battle, Din emerges victorious, knocking the saber from Gideon's hand. And when he doesn't strike him down, Gideon says, "You're keeping me alive. This should be interesting." And he was like, "Fuck yeah, I'm going to be around to see this whole thing. I love it." And back on the bridge, Din enters with the Darksaber in hand, unsheathed and everything, just swinging that thing around. And I was like, "Oh, that looks so good in his hand."
It really did.
I love it. And he has Gideon shackled in the other with a baby on his arm. And Bo-Katan's like, what the fuck happened? And Kara says, they brought him in alive, and the New Republic will have to double the reward. And Gideon's like, that's not what she's talking about. And he turns his attention to Bo-Katan and says, why don't you kill him now and take it? And I was like, oh. See, because I didn't know this specifically. Like, I didn't realize you couldn't just give it away either.
Yeah. Also, just thinking about it, why? So if it was her plan, she wanted to fight Moff Gideon and like take the Darksaber from him and like win it through combat. Why the fuck would Din be the one with the spear that helps you fight the Darksaber?
Oh.
It seems like the type of thing that they'd be like, hey, you know, let's all go. Yeah, I'll go. Like, we'll just go together. You'll have the spear since you want to fight him. And, you know, probably smart that if you're going to fight him, you have the one weapon built to fight him.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's
why.
That is a hole and a half.
Story is what matters, right? For the Darksaber. Why? Just kill Gideon. Give the Darksaber to Bo-Katan. No one knows that Din was the actual one to defeat Gideon.
It's an honor thing, man.
Yeah, the other people on the ship.
Mandalorians.
Okay, but are they going to say anything?
They could.
I don't know. I just
never know.
If you're not telling me if they're in a heated argument with her and she's like, she puts her foot down on something and they're like, fuck you, you didn't even win the Darksaber. That was all a lie.
I mean,
fuck you, Bobo.
Honestly, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm honestly glad it ended up this way because I would rather have Din lead Mandalore. I would like to see the the religion that they have restored, and it's just so much more badass. Ugh.
I absolutely hate that here at the end of season 2, Joseph was the most right about that.
I hate it. I hate it in its entirety. And I hope the first episode of season 3, we get a Bo-Katan Din fight that's where it's like Din is clearly going easy just that way she can get it, and then Joseph can just be wrong.
I think there's going to be a problem here. I think either Din straight up loses to Bo-Katan, or he's too good at what he does and is just going to keep winning. Because I don't see him.
Okay,
he's not going to go easy, but I need to see him lose just that way Joseph can be wrong. Because I can't handle Joseph being right.
So I want to go back because I'm not usually right on my outlandish theories, and this is one that I just threw out because of nothing. I just thought it would be cool. And to you guys, the reaction you gave to me is like, "Oh, that is stupid. It's not going to happen. No way." And then I don't know how.
I don't think it will
almost got it.
Here at the end of the season here, you are the closest, and I will give you that.
The reason we don't think it's going to happen is because it's just so wrong.
I'm right at first. Who's to say that he doesn't just, you know what? I'm going to restore the way that the Mandalorian should be. I think that's
because clearly he doesn't even believe in the way the Mandalorian should be anymore.
That's exactly what I think,
and that's important here at the end.
I was right about this one, Joseph.
Okay, do you know why I was so mad about him taking off his helmet in the previous episode? Was because it would have made this next scene so much more powerful. So much more powerful.
I think it's still just as powerful.
I think it's just as powerful too, but it would. See, but you're going into it thinking if he shows Baby his face that you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah. The reason it's just as powerful is because he wasn't just taking off his helmet and showing it to people just for the sake of showing it to people. He was still doing it to save Baby Yoda.
Okay, I understand that.
To save Grogu.
I understand that, but Bill Burr's character could have done it easily. He was just a pussy and didn't want to go in and get caught by his commander or whatever.
Exactly.
But the only other time we've seen him take off his helmet at all was at season when he showed IG-11 to fix his head, which, reasonable. And we haven't seen him take off his helmet at all. And if you just see him go like this, just put his hands on his helmet, like, oh shit, like this is happening. Instead of like, oh, it happened last episode, it's not really that special anymore. Like, I don't know.
I still thought it was special.
I still disagree. I got all the emotions out of it. I got all the emotions out of it. I didn't.
I still cried.
All the emotions that were needed came from the look that Grogu made whenever he saw his face.
I'm not gonna lie, I did cry.
Like, and another thing that's important in realizing that Din is kind of like fuck the way, bro, is right here where Bo-Katan and he's like, Moff Gideon explains the saber is Din's now, and that Bo-Katan can't merely accept it; it must be won in battle. In order for her to wield the Darksaber again, she will need to defeat Din in combat. And he just keeps trying to yield it. And Gideon goes on to explain that the Darksaber doesn't have the power. The story does. That without the blade, she's a pretender to the throne. And Din tries again. He's like, just take it.
Yeah. And this is why I don't think he cares about it the way anymore, because he's like, fuck the way, take the lightsaber.
Clearly, we're getting bogged down in these rules when we're losing sight of what matters. Like, that's what I think he takes.
I think
he's just annoyed. I think he's been through so much shit to get Baby, and now he has this bullshit presented to him, and he's like, I don't fucking want this. I told this man I didn't fucking want it in the first place.
He just doesn't care.
That's what damn it, Colton, you fucker. I wanted to say that, and I don't even watch that show, and I still wanted to say
that.
But
now that the kid is gone,
what is
he going to do?
Smart.
He's going to rule Mandalore. Just saying.
Damn it.
Yes. I think we're gonna get a more complicated thing here. I don't even know that Bo-Katan and him will necessarily fight. I think that we're gonna get a time gap here where Grogu and Din are apart because you have to. Otherwise, like, the reuniting won't be as rewarding.
Joseph, I have the perfect solutions to everyone's problem. Okay? He rules Mandalore using the Darksaber, but also because of the fact that you want him to just marry every single female that appears in his life, Him and Bo-Katan get married, rule Mandalore together. Simple solution.
Okay. By throwing out women that he could just marry, it's just me throwing out stuff. I just throw out stuff randomly to spark conversation. But
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
I want him to kill Bo-Katan low-key.
I could have saw this coming. After
low-key,
earlier, I knew that was gonna happen.
I want him to kill.
No,
I want them to fight, and I want to just be like, "I'm better than you." I want to be like, "I'm
better than you."
Bro,
he
if he did not kill Gideon, he will not kill Bo-Katan.
He's not killing Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
Okay, but if Bo-Katan's about to kill this dude, okay, not gonna lie, Din could mess up Bo-Katan. What does Bo-Katan have that's more special?
He's very
literally a lifetime of training.
Here's what I'll say:
Bo-Katan's not a
very
Joseph.
fucking fast.
I know.
And I think that's Mando's biggest weakness is that Mando's kind of clunkier. I think Bo-Katan moves she's so agile and nimble, bro. That's so fucking tough.
But right here,
if I'm right on
after
Bo-Katan,
Din's
I'm not. Yeah.
Okay, hang on. I hate to keep dwelling on this, but I have been trying to find my window to present what I think is going to happen, and I haven't found it yet until now. And I know you were just about to move on, Colton, but I gotta say it.
Go for it.
I disagree with Joseph. Just to join on the disagreeing with Joseph thing.
Understandably.
What I think is going to happen is that Mando or Din is going to dodge the throne. Just try to dodge it. Just try to get the fuck away. He's still going to have the Darksaber. And I think that people are going to come looking for him and try to claim the Darksaber. Not just Bo-Katan. I think there's going to be someone else. I don't know if I don't know if that's just
that's a great fucking
power hungry.
It would keep with what's been going on throughout the series.
Because I think Mando...
That'd be an interesting next season. Him just on the run, trying to run from people, trying to get the Darksaber.
Here's the thing. I don't even know if it's so much him being on the run. I think it's going to be him trying to get back to some semblance of what he used to do, trying to figure out what his life post-baby is going to look like. And I think he's going to get that shit. I think that shit is going to get fucking messy because people are going to come fucking looking for him in the Darksaber. That's what I think.
What happens if he just sets it on the ground and just leaves?
It doesn't matter. You still have to defeat him.
What would happen, though? Could she take the could Bo-Katan pick it up and then defeat him with it? Or, do you have to defeat the person wielding the Darksaber?
Probably.
No,
I think
Darth Maul beat Pre Vizsla with the Darksaber when he wasn't in possession of it yet.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you don't have to be in possession of it to wield it. You just have to be in possession of it to be able to say, I'm the ruler of Mandalore.
That makes sense.
So what he could do is he could just be like, all right, let's duel for the Darksaber and be like, oops, I accidentally dropped the lightsaber.
Owie, you defeated me.
I think I twisted my knee. I'm going to sit this one out. You got it.
But here an alert comes through over the speakers. Someone has entered the cruiser's airspace, and they're like, how many life forms? None. And then you hear it again. Shit was just hard as fuck, and the Dark Troopers land in the hangar, and it's a lot of them. A lot more than I could tell in that one shot.
The way that they flow in, really, I was like, whoa, there's that many of them?
There's so many.
I'm like, holy shit. I thought there was only 12 in that fucking hangar for a second, and now they're flying in, and it's
40 of them, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
They're making their way all the way through the ship, all slow and Gideon says, "You're about to face off with the Dark Troopers. You had your hands full with one. Let's see how you do against a platoon."
Yeah,
and I was just like, this man is nasty, and as these guys are making their march, the others
he's in fucking cuffs, and he's literally got. He's been got, and he's still sitting here like,
okay,
I'm the only one making it
if
up.
Luke were to not show up, if Luke were to not show up, the Dark Troopers would have won.
Thinking about it, though, why the fuck didn't he just take the Darksaber and just go to town on him?
He was cuffed?
Who?
No, Din.
Oh.
Din has the Darksaber.
I really don't
think maybe he
like this thing at all. I just think he simply doesn't he doesn't want it. He does. I also it's not fair. I think it's fair to wonder if he would have even known these things were maybe he thinks it's not. I don't know. That's kind of dumb though. Darksaber's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, or just be like, hey, listen, I know you can't wield it in the sense of ruling Mandalore, but hey, Bo-Katan, you've used this before. Go to town.
Yeah,
that's true. I don't know. There's so many
we get what we get. We get what we get.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm okay with what we got. I just figured I'd throw a wrench in there.
I get you. And what we got was fucking perfect, so I won't complain. As they
could have been better.
As they make their march through the ship, the others watch them over the security cameras, and Din sets Grogu down, telling him not to worry, that he's going to get him out of there. And that then the troopers arrive at the door, and they seal the blast shield, and they begin to punch. Brah. 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 And with each punch, the doors just loosening more and more, and Gideon's just smiling sinisterly, and they all take aim at the door, ready for the breach, and Moff Gideon continues to speak. You have an impressive firing team protecting you. Brah! But I think we all know that after a valiant stand, brah! Just like the way they kept with the fucking... It was so nasty. Everyone in this room will be dead. Brah! But me. Brah! And the child. And I was like, oh my fucking God. That was so cool for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way he speaks.
It's those little things, bro. Like,
it really is. And then here, the alarm sounds again. And a single X-Wing appears outside the window.
Oh my.
Did you know off the rip?
Yes, I did.
Did you
one X-Wing shows up, it's Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
As soon as an X-Wing, if it's only one, whenever clearly they're waiting for a Jedi, there's no other option.
Yeah, okay, I didn't know when Kara said one X-Wing, we're safe.
Yeah. 1% of me was like,
maybe not. You know, 1% like there's that little bit, but then you really.
It's like Mace Windu. Please. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm fine with Luke.
Just holding on hope. Oh, obviously, but
oh yeah.
You know, the craft lands in the hangar.
Gonna be right.
It's okay. We'll see Mace in the Book of Fett.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Here's what I gotta say. Did you notice how Grogu immediately perked up when the?
Yeah, I was about to bring that up in the breakdown when he lands in the hangar. Grogu's perked up. And then that was like the final one. I was like, oh, it's definitely Luke. Like it is no doubt in my mind, Luke.
No doubt.
And the dark troopers stop punching and they turn around. And Bo-Katan looks to the security cameras and you can see in them a hooded figure walking down the hall. And I was like, prequel trilogy vibes out the ass on Luke Skywalker. This scene perfectly combined everything. Everything. Like it felt so right. And you know, we see him in there deflecting blaster bolts with a saber. Very, very Return of the Jedi on Jabba's barge vibes here. And you know, Bo-Katan asks aloud, "A Jedi?" And visibly, Gideon is fucking petrified. This man is horrified for what's about to happen.
This very much gives me vibes of Anakin just like cutting down droids in the prequel trilogy.
Absolutely. And I think that's like kind of what it was meant to do, you know. And I love that. I love the idea that if there is anybody in the galaxy who would know about Luke Skywalker, the guy who was partially responsible for both Death Stars being destroyed, and as a Jedi, a former ISB agent like Moff Gideon would probably be familiar with his existence.
So also partially responsible, completely responsible.
Yeah, obviously.
For both.
Yeah. And, you know, so when Gideon is horrified, he could be horrified that it is specifically Luke Skywalker, which I think would be.
I think it's probably a little bit of both, but like terrified in general that it's a Jedi, but also even more so because he knows it's Luke and knows that Luke's about to come fuck his shit up.
Absolutely.
Well, here's my thing. I think Moff just being, I mean, he did have the Darksaber, but him not being a Sith or anything, I feel like, bro, you can't fuck with any Jedi shit probably. Like,
no, not at all. Like
even with the Darksaber, he like what are you fixing to do with that man? Like not fucking shit. Like,
yeah, and I mean that showed here because Luke goes to absolute work and he makes it look so fucking easy, which just shows how badass Luke Skywalker is.
Yeah, and you said it. You mentioned it a little bit, and I think we talked about this. I think I texted one of you guys about it. How I felt like the way he fights, his fight style, and the way he was moving just seemed so like it just seemed super continuous, I guess, from yeah. It's just like I love that they're I don't know. I just felt so like firmly like wow, like this is that Luke, like this is that Luke from Luke.
When he walked around that corner and he had the black glove holding the green lightsaber, I was like,
yeah, baby. The score for this score for him.
Dude, the whole end of this episode from here on, whenever they switch to like Grogu seeing Din's face for the first time, that music's beautiful. Like the whole rest of the episode, and like the whole episode, really perfect music. But this specifically here at the end, just bonkers. And he's going to absolute work, making his way to the elevator. And Moff Gideon in the bridge takes aim, and he fires at Bo-Katan a few times. And then he looks down at Grogu, takes aim again, and Din dives down in front of him, saving the baby. And then Gideon takes a second, turns the gun on himself, and Cara knocks the gun out of his hand. I was like, oh, thank God. I didn't want him to die.
So chaotic. So chaotic. It was like,
Dude, I was so concerned that we were going to get a cut back to like either Baby Yoda or like Bo-Katan, like actually dead.
Just a fucking hole in their chest.
Yeah.
Imagine how big of a hole it would look like on Baby. Oh, fuck.
That shit would have blown him the fuck away.
That man would have a fucking, I don't even know. There would be such little left of him.
Also, great example, Din would, clearly wasn't going to kill anyone. If Moff Gideon had landed that shot on Grogu, I'm sorry, but Moff Gideon is getting ripped to shreds.
Immediate.
He would have.
Yeah. Not immediate. It would be a slow, painful death.
Oh, no, I think he immediately turns on that motherfucker and just absolutely puts us.
Oh, he would turn on him, but I think
he cuts him limb for limb with the Darksaber.
Exactly. I think he makes him suffer.
Just cut.
Yeah.
That seems like the kind of guy that Din is, if you fuck with Baby. Mm-hmm. Specifically, if you fuck with Baby. Like, no other circumstances would he do something like that.
But he does not care for anyone else. But as soon as you touch Baby, you are as good as dead.
Essentially, that's what I'm saying. And, Luke arrives at the elevator and the Dark Troopers wait at the top in anticipation of their demise. And Grogu watches over the camera and he touches the screen. And I was like, oh, he's so cute. Oh. And, he emerges from the elevator and cuts them all down. Big Vader Rogue One vibes just out the ass. And, did you see the side-by-side of these being played? How they're literally the same length? The scene is.
Yeah,
it's
almost
perfect.
The same moves.
It's like a perfect. Yeah, just wrecking shit and destroying the last one by reaching out through the Force and crushing it from the inside out. Bro, that shit was absurd. That was the coolest use of the Force we've gotten in a while.
Since
ever?
The prequel trilogies?
We got some cool stuff in the sequels with the Force, but all of it kind of it falls a little flat, now.
Yeah. That's why I said probably since the prequels.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think of Rey preventing a fucking ship from flying out of the atmosphere.
And then blowing it up.
with her lightning, yeah. But
bananas.
But, he's fucking it up. He's fucking it up. And Grogu and Din watch over the security feed, just absolutely amazed. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely sending you with this guy." And when he gets to the door, Din says to open it, and Fennec is like, "Yo, are you fucking crazy? Don't open that shit. Ain't no way that's happening." And Din's like, "All right, I'll do it then." Boop, opens that shit right open, and Luke Skywalker emerges. He removes his hood. Din asks if he's a Jedi. Tells him he is. Then he reaches out to Grogu, says, "Come, little one." Grogu looks to Din, and Din turns to Luke, saying he doesn't want to go with him. Luke tells him that he only wants Din's permission, that he is strong with the Force, but talent without training is nothing, that he will give his life to protect the child, but he will not be safe until he masters his abilities. Din goes over to Grogu and picks him up, looking him in the eye, telling him that it's time. This is who he belongs with. He's one of your kind. But we will see each other again. I promise. He promised that shit. He promised.
It better be true.
It better be.
I'll throw out my Yeah, I'll throw out my previous threats. If they never see each other again, I'll burn down Disney Studios.
Yeah,
totally
very true.
I just need to continue saying that. And so everything's come true so far. So as long as I keep saying it, everything will happen.
It kind of upset me that it was like it was trying to happen. Like Luke was like acting like he was in a hurry. Like, yo, man, give me this kid. We gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, let's bounce. Like, bro, you know.
I feel like he gave him an appropriate amount of time.
No, he did. But initially, it looked like he was just getting grabbed and go. I was like,
he did just walk in and go, "Come, little one." Like,
this isn't a fucking takeout, bro. You can't just come in and fucking dip. You gotta like show your receipt. I need to see the card you paid for it with. Like, hold the fuck on a second. Give it a second. Damn.
You know, Grogu reaches up and touches Din's mask, and you know, the music swells here, and Din slowly removes his helmet, and Grogu again reaches up and touches his cheek, and Din closes his eyes and smiles. And says, "All right, pal, it's time to go. Don't be afraid." And I was like, "Oh, fuck me."
He's gotten so much, but think about how much better he's gotten about like just being with Baby and like talking to him. Like think about how uncomfortable he was at the beginning of season 1, and like just how awkward it was, and he did not understand, and like you knew he felt like some sort of compassion and love for Baby, but like he was so bad about like saying or showing it. And now it's like it's come like he's so like tender and just it makes me emotional. But
it's so cute, bro. It's so fucking cute. And he sets Grogu down, and Grogu holds onto his leg, grabs him tight, won't let him go. And Luke looks down at him and looks back up at Din, and Din's looking at him like, "Shit, I don't know, man." And then R2 enters from behind Luke, and Grogu turns in amazement, and he waddles forward toward the droid, and they look at each other for a while, and R2 seems happy to see him, and I have to think he was going, "Holy fucking shit, Luke, look. It's a baby Yoda."
Okay.
okay.
I believe very strongly that R2-D2 saved Grogu from the Jedi Temple, because
that would be really
that
cool.
ball that he plays with that's from the ship, it has a blue little top on it, and it's silver, which R2-D2's dome is the same. And whenever Luke came in, he was like, "Oh, I know that guy," you know, like, "Oh, cool, a guy I know." But then R2 came in, he was like, "Oh shit, like this is
that
a guy
would be really
I know."
Cool. I actually really like that theory.
It would be cool, and also it might make a little bit of sense since like R2-D2 would have likely been at the temple.
Mm-hmm. And he would have seen like, okay, Anakin, my master is like kind of going crazy. Maybe I should take over and save this kid that looks a lot like Yoda. I would love for either it to be Anakin himself, because there is a story in Legends where he helped Yaddle, and Yaddle died at the end of this legend story, and he was trying to save her, and maybe he felt bad for Yaddle, and then saw like, you know, one of Yaddle's species, and was like, "You know what, man, just like don't come to school tomorrow," or
don't come to school tomorrow.
That sort of vibe.
Potentially, I like that. I like that a lot. And, but Grogu turns to Luke after seeing R2 and holds his arms out. You know, he's ready to go. And Luke picks him up, and he tells Din, "May the Force be with you." And as he walks off, Grogu looks over his shoulder to Din. The same angle we've gotten when Grogu was saved by Din earlier, when he flew off in the jetpack, and when Din himself was saved when he was younger. And Din begins to tear up as he watches this kid go off with Luke. And
did you see the little smirk that Luke gave when R2 and Baby like started, like, I don't want to say playing, but like when R2 rolled in and Baby walked up, and then it like pans to Luke looking at Din, and he kind of gives him this little smirk, like
it was like like, "Hey, our kids are playing together." That was my idea.
It's like, "Hey man, it's gonna be fine. Like, it'll be okay. He's good. He's in good hands. He's got a friend. Like, we're straight.
We got this shit."
Don't worry. I swear, if like 20 years from now, one of my nephews ends up becoming a murderer, I'll deal with it. Okay, Baby won't be hurt.
All I can think about is, does R2 have like a little compartment he can put Yoda in? Because there's Baby in. Because like if there isn't now, there's gonna be. Like, I'm convinced.
It's gonna be.
Luke's gonna be
There has
like,
to be, bro.
Luke's gonna be like, yo, make room in this motherfucker. Like, we got to find some place for him.
You know, as they're walking towards the elevator, Luke and Grogu and Din are making eye contact, and Din tears up as he walks away for the last time for now, and they look at each other one last time, and the door shuts on Luke Skywalker holding Grogu in hand alongside R2-D2, and that's the end of season 2.
Dude, nothing better than the well-timed credits. Nothing better than when that shit just...
That felt like the end of one of the... That reminded me of the end of Empire Strikes Back, that shot of Luke, Leia with Han and with 3PO and R2, you know?
Dude,
that's the vibe.
Nothing better than a good cut to black, just right at the right time.
God, it was lovely.
Do you guys
also?
Oh, go ahead, Miles.
Was just so happy that I decided to sit through the entirety of the credits.
Oh yeah,
I did not think there was going to be a post-credit scene, but I was like, "What are the chances?"
So
maybe let's just fast forward and see. And then I saw it like pop up, and I was like, "Yes, more!"
I was so pissed.
Do you guys like?
What?
Go ahead.
I was so pissed because I didn't get to watch the episode for I think a couple days. I think I watched it on maybe I don't even remember. It was a couple days afterwards, or at least one day. And I just remember being so pissed because I had nothing spoiled. I literally had nothing spoiled about the show. And then, I shit you not, an hour before I watched it, I was scrolling through Twitter, and the thing that got spoiled was the end credit scene and what it was. Not just that there was one, what it was. And I was like,
dang.
What the fuck? But, I mean, honestly, I'll take it that was what got spoiled. I would much rather that be spoiled than, the actual, show and what happened. But...
Still, it was a phenomenal scene. And the recreation of the palace and stuff, it was just beautiful.
Oh, yeah. The end of Return of the Jedi, whenever Vader, or now Anakin, takes his helmet off, and he's, the what's it called? The line of let me lay my eyes upon you and see my son through my own eyes, or something like that. And then Din does the same thing with Baby Yoda and Grogu, and it's the similarity of Luke watching that happen to someone else while it happened to him. I don't know. Wow. Just the writing is amazing.
It was perfect. It was a perfect scene.
Oh.
It was a perfect scene. And obviously, post credits, we get the Book of Boba. Boba sitting on the throne of Jabba's palace, and I'm ready for that.
Oh, he didn't have to take that man out, bro.
That guy got what he deserved. I did not like that.
Fuck a bib Fortuna, bro. Fuck a bib Fortuna.
That dude was slimy. He just looks like he smells disgusting.
Boba, you are the one guy.
Colton, we had talked about it after, immediately after the episode, talked about the post-credit scene, and I had told you, I was like, man, I really hope that that the whole reason they were so certain and telling everyone while announcing all the other shows, no, Boba's not going to get his own show. Quit asking us. And I was like, man, I hope that this is why. And you told me, you're like, well, no, I think it's just going to be that the Mandalorian is going to become the book of it's the next chapter, kind of like how the first one was the first, there was the first chapter, the second chapter, and the third chapter would be the book of the book of Boba. You told me that, and I was like, it makes sense, but I just don't want it to be true. And they announced that it wasn't, and I was so happy.
I was so fucking happy. It was so great, and I'm just ready. I'm ready for the future of Star Wars here, because this felt like a very clean ending here. Obviously, I think we'll get some more resolution on Boba versus Bo-Katan. I mean, not Boba versus Bo-Katan, Din versus Bo-Katan. I don't know if we'll see Grogu ever getting trained by Luke, but I'm assuming at some point we'll get a reuniting scene of Grogu and Din, and that'll be sweet. I think that'll be wonderful. But other than that, this season doesn't leave you with much.
I'm just very much, again, so adamant about needing that gap to be longer. I know it sucks, and I know it's so easy to want to be give it to me now. But
it's gonna be sweeter when
I trust that they'll make him I trust that it will be earned. Like, I trust that when we see it, like, it will have been earned, because that's going to hit so hard. But damn, I already am, like, so sad that they're separated.
That seems like a good thing that they could do, like, have, like, a season 3, like, with whatever happens with him dealing with the Darksaber and Mandalore and all that stuff, and go into the backstory of all that, and then have season 4 be, like, the final season, and it be, like, first episode, it's, like, it starts with X years later.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool, too. I mean, we don't know. We don't know, but we will see. We will see, and we will talk about it here in a couple. And we'll talk about Star Wars projects in between here and then, too. So, since The Mandalorian rewatch is up, our next project is going to be WandaVision, coming to Disney Plus in January. And I'm ready for that. I'm big time ready for that. So, in the coming weeks, I'm thinking maybe we talk some Age of Ultron and some Civil War, the movies that really, introduce and strengthen the stories of Wanda and Vision.
Are you still here?
Cack.
Oh, clock's still ticking, so I think he's still here.
Bro, this has been the most annoying shit. Like, have you heard me, like, at all?
Cack made it.
Barely. Oh no, you cut out a lot.
You were cutting in and out, and then you cut hard out.
I don't know how
after
this episode is
going
to turn out, because like every single one of you is choppy as fuck. Like, for this whole recording, I have not been able to pick up a word from you. I've just been trying my best.
Oh. That's not good.
Well, I'm kind of thinking, doesn't it record each of our
That's
voices
what I'm saying.
separately?
I think we should be fine. It's just that I can't guarantee that there aren't points when you guys are talking and I was just talking over you because I couldn't hear you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
I think
when you were talking right there, I just let out a massive cack. So I hope it's really smooth of you, and you're just going through this point of like, well, we're gonna watch Age of Ultron, and that's the most important story, and then it's just gonna be cack right in the middle of it. Just get fucked.
Cack. Yeah, I'm excited. So next week we're gonna move on from Star Wars for a little bit. We're gonna shift gears into Marvel. I'm ready for that.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
It's been a great pleasure discussing The Mandalorian with you guys. I feel like it's brought us closer than we've ever been.
Man, guys, we have been at this for a while.
4 months, practically?
It feels like it's been longer than that.
Well, I mean, 16 weeks. We've done it for 16 weeks.
15 for me, but yes, still.
Well, technically 17, because we missed last week. So
I'm sorry.
16 for you.
Man.
That didn't happen.
What a journey.
What a journey. And we will continue it here on the Penny Bloom podcast. 'Twas I, Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. We've also got Miles motherfucking Buttress. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, but anytime, man.
I mean, next week even?
Maybe.
Despite there being no more The Mandalorian?
We'll figure it out.
You thought it was over? You fucking thought.
You thought.
No, we're talking Age of Ultron. We're talking Age of Ultron next week, boys. And on the screen below me that I can see and you cannot, it was KBZ, Kyler Barnett. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. This was the Penny Bloom podcast. Thank you very much. And always remember, peace, love, and bloom. And always praise Keanu Reeves.